Hello and welcome to Saturday afternoon steaming of this Vulcan stroke Cyldon 13.3. This dates from somewhere between 1946 and 51. I think it was made by Sydney S. Bird of Enfield under the Cyldon sort of brand stroke Vulcan brand. I think one and the two are the same. This is the first time I've steamed this engine since acquiring it, and it's had a bit of a clean, a bit of a wipe over, a thorough oiling, and obviously everything tested to make sure it seals properly. It's just about coming up to steam now. This was the 13.3. I say you also had 13.1, which had a wooden base and a whistle, and you had a 13.2 with a semi-rotative valve on it, and then we also had the 13.4 with the geared flywheel, and then the 13.5 with the geared flywheel and the double acting cylinder. And you know, they're quite collectible, quite rare engines, and very much of a post-war period when steam engines were quite popular as a sideline. This is mostly made of aluminium, the firebox and the base itself, so it's quite light. I assume there's a lot of aluminium kicking around after the war from plane manufacture. Hence, aluminium was also used in a lot of LUTON-BOWMAN engines as well. This one's priming a little bit at the moment. Safety valve's probably not as tight as I would really like it. However, we'll probably leave it now. There we go. Starting off quite slowly. The steam seems to get sort of ejected from a sort of a groove in the actual faceplate of the engine block. This has had some new wicks put in, some MF Super Wick, and you can see the little fella's just starting to pick up a little bit of speed now. If I just bring the camera down a little bit, that's a bit better. Quite a small engine because of its aluminium construction and a lot of its parts. It's quite light as well. Very well made, really, considering the tubular brass lamps on these are almost like a work of art. There's a lot of sort of work gone into soldering. It's almost like a mini boiler, you could almost say, really. Quite a light Mazak flywheel. It's a diminutive, sort of lightweight engine. Quite a small crank pin on the disc crank, so it needs to be handled with a little bit of care. But it seems to be picking up a little bit of speed now. Let's get rid of some of that bits of oil and rubbish. I tend to find the lamps on these get quite hot, and sometimes with the vento I've even seen meth actually be projected into the air when it's actually igniting. So there you have it. It's running quite quietly. There's no exhaust to chimney. As I say, it's coming out of the little groove that's in the engine faceplate. Presumably the inlet steam pipe goes straight up into the boiler. There's no dome on these. There doesn't seem to be any other leaks from the seams or the overflow valve. The safety valve was a little bit tight. Now I shouldn't really do this. I'm going to do it and just tighten it just a tiny little bit. As you can see now, it's starting to run a little bit better. I'll just turn that around. The aluminium sides and faceplate make quite an attractive sort of mirrored finish, and they sort of set off the detailing quite nicely. It's not a big engine. It's probably about the same size, or just a little bit bigger than a post-war Mammoth SE1. Only made for a short space of time. Makes me wonder really how they arrived at some of the engine numbers for these, because you would have thought as the numbers go up, like 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, the engines would have got more expensive. I mean, the top end engine, the 13.5, is the all singing all dancing affair, although even that is quite small. However, why the 13.1, which has a whistle, and this one doesn't, and a beautiful wooden base, is like the low model. Then you've got the 13.2 with the long engine frame and the semi-rotative cylinder. That's considered the 13.2, and then this is the 13.3. It's quite odd. The 13.4 is almost the same as this, except it's run on a longitudinal, sort of horizontal, thin engine frame with the same cylinder arrangement, but the flywheel then rotates a geared valve. I think it's a geared wheel from the Presticon, I think, construction set. It's very similar to Meccano. I'm sure John Chapman will correct me or be able to give more information on these. As you can see it's into its stride now. I mean, you could run one or two tools. The wick seems to be working well. It just tend to come up the side. If I turn the light at the moment, you get an idea then of how much of the flames coming up the side. I've trimmed the wick right down. I probably need trimming back a little bit more, I would suspect. You see the other side, it's quite just a singular boiler strap holding it on. Very well finished, very well trimmed. The firebox is got some sort of riveting, as is sort of like hollow rivets which are holding the rubber feet on. See, the hole at this end is for the steam pipe which comes out on the 13.4, so the whole engine assembly sits on this side then. So there's a degree of standardisation of parts. So there you have it, a Vulcan 13.3 or a Cyldon 13.3, whatever you want to sort of call it. Running smoothly, steaming, and it's a nice little thing to see here, and consider the engine's 60+ years old, still working extremely well.